Hello everyone, Evasion here and welcome back to another video. Today's video I wanted to share with you another guide of a different Subtlety rogue build that I've been messing around with. I actually geared up a second rogue because I was having this issue where I was playing back and forth the Finality build that I had in the last video as well as the Rotten build. And I figured I'm just going to set up a second rogue and then I can play one with more of a Finality based build and I'm going to play the other rogue with more of the Rotten build. So in this video, I'm going to be covering more of a Finality build. However, this one's modified. I've actually dropped Dark Brew in favor of having Flagellation. I've been having a lot of fun with this. I think that this build is going to be very powerful to use in solo shuffle. Formerly, I really liked playing the Rotten because I was able to snowball and steal a lot of matches with the CDR of Vanish. However, I've been having decent success so far playing this build, so let's hop straight into it. If you like this kind of content, please be sure to give the video a like. It helps me out a lot. If you want to see more stuff like this, drop a comment, subscribe for more, and let's get straight into it. All right, so here is the Flagellation and Finality build that I've been using. If you are looking for more of a OG build that people are probably using at the moment, check out my previous video. I will leave a link in the description. However, this build is pretty good in solo shuffle. And I'll talk about how you can move around some of the points and some things you might want to look out for. Flagellation is actually really crazy for putting out damage in a situation like solo shuffle where it's a lot less coordinated because it actually gives you time to stack up the Flagellation buff, which what Flagellation does is every time you spend a combo point, it's going to give you some mastery. So if you're putting out constantly like 6 combo point finishers, you're just getting 6 stacks of this, 3 finishers, you get like 18 stacks of this. You get a ton of mastery, and that's going to allow you to have massive secret techs, and you can pair this up with the Echoing Reprimand to either put out a lot of... You can get a lot more stacks through using Echoing Reprimand, or what I usually like to get a modest amount of stacks of Flagellation and then save Echoing Reprimand for normal burst rotation, where you're getting like full combo points, Dance Kidney, put out a finisher, and then you're going to use the Echoing Reprimand and then put out a 7-point secret technique through using the blue combo points. One of my favorite things about this spec, having 8-second dance feels way better than having 6-second dance. And that is really kind of the problem with playing the Rotten, because in order to get Dance and the Rotten, you can only have a maximum of 7 combo points, or you can't even have all of that stuff, which kind of sucks. With this build, you get the 8-second dance, and you have the option to move around your Cloaked in Shadow talent. So I love having this talent for solo shuffle. It gives your healers a little bit of room to be, it helps you out. It helps you stay alive. And so you can move this talent around. You can actually play Replicating Shadows, and then you would just max everything else out again. This is really good. You can also move some other points around. Some people like to play Quick Decisions. I personally don't like using this as much. If I was not playing Secret Tech, I would probably pick this up, as I would need to put the Silent Storm talent somewhere, and I don't really think anything else is all that useful. So what that would look like is you would have this here. You can actually... So what happens if you take this talent? You don't need to have both of these. You can actually move this talent here, something like this. However, personally, I just like to keep it like this. Yeah, if you need more damage, the best way to get more damage is to just take the Cloaked in Shadow point and put it in Replicating Shadows, and then max out your tree again. That's the best way to maximize damage. You can even take Dark Brew when you're doing that, so your Ruptures are dealing shadow damage. They apply to a second target, and they're just dealing massive damage. I believe Rupture is actually one of the hardest hitting dots in the game when you have all this stuff stacked up, especially when it's out through Finality. Given that most of your damage profile isn't damage over time, so you're not really rotting people. But if you're playing with a Discipline Priest and 2s where they can have dots spread around, you could start to rot people as dampening stacks up. Although, usually you're just waiting for dampening to ramp up so you can just one-shot somebody in 2v2 when you're playing with Discipline Priest. The last things to mention about the talent tree is that I haven't actually messed around with Fade to Nothing. However, I believe this could be good against things like BM Hunters, where you're kind of taking a lot of damage from the pets, even if you are dancing in those matches. And also the increased movement speed, which does activate during Shadow Dance, can be helpful to stay on, or stay on people if they trinket. Maybe you need to react and get out a second stun, or just to get more value out of your dance. And the actual last thing about the talent tree is I want to talk about elusiveness. For the most part, I like playing elusiveness, but I just have huge muscle memory pressing it. The thing that sucks is it does use quite a bit of your energy, and you're not generating combo points, which means you're bringing back your shadow dances a little bit slower and stuff like that. It does help that it does have a little bit of a damage reduction on evasion too. But anytime I play against, if I'm in 2s, or maybe even in 3s, of course, if you're playing against rogue mage or setup-based comps that have massive amount of burst damage, cheat death can be a great thing to do. However, I have played games where it's like cheat death is entirely useless, and any game where I feel like I could have fainted before I got CC'd or before a team went on me, I try to play feint whenever I can, but cheat death is really good, especially in 2s where you have if you're with a healer, you have like a little bit of a dampening start, and if you're against mage rogue right now, fire's pretty strong, sub's definitely good, and yeah, it's definitely better to have cheat death. It can literally be the difference between winning or losing. And yeah, so that's the talents. Oh, also honor talents. For honor talents, I have been trying out Veil of Midnight a lot. I actually really like this talent. And when I don't have the Rotten, I haven't been playing Thief's Bargain. If you're playing double DPS or you're trying to stall for more kill attempts, this is definitely still a great talent. This is pretty much an auto lock-in when you play the Rotten, because then you get more vanishes, and more vanishes is more cooldown reduction. It snowballs out of control from there. Another talent that I think would be useful if you're against casters, this is more of maybe a 2v2 tip, but Silhouette is actually really good. I find myself stepping to my teammates a lot just so I can get back to the pillar and wait. You know, you get more dampening to stack up. You get your cooldowns back. If there's pets, you can get your dance back when you're on the pillar. And Silhouette really helps with this kind of playstyle. I haven't got to mess around with this a whole lot because I've been playing Veil of Midnight a whole lot just to try to practice using it in the different situations where it's useful. And I really like being able to remove red effects. It's pretty fun. Very lastly, consider using Dismantle when you're against other Subtlety rogues. You can use this after your stun rotation, and that will allow you to delay them immediately going back on you. You can get out a little bit extra damage. They'll probably just disarm you back, but it'll give you the opportunity to act first out of your own stuns, and then you can stall for the next stun and hopefully win the game. Since it's still early in the season, I wanted to throw in a little quick tip about gearing as well. So I crafted this Versatility Mastery PvP ring with the Mastery embellishment on it. I have the old boots from last season, which I've also upgraded by now. You can have 2 sparks as of this week, time of posting the video. And I believe that these 2 embellishments are really, really good for Subtlety Rogue. One other cool thing about gearing is that if you did your Sparks quest last week and this week, or you just do, if this is in the future, you do 2 weeks of Sparks, the belt is a middle stat budgeted item. It's in the same tier as boots and gloves. And this thing only costs 5 sparks to upgrade. So the first thing you want to get with your sparks is get this belt. And then the following week, when you get your second set of sparks, you'll have enough that you can upgrade both a cape. And the cool thing about this cape is that it actually has a higher budget of mastery compared to the PvP one. Either one is good. I'll probably in the end upgrade to the 450 one. But for this point in the season, it's amazing to have this. And then also, there's no mastery bracers unless you get the world PvP ones. So with 2 weeks of sparks, you can get these wraps, you can get this cape and this belt, and I highly recommend getting those. It helps out a lot. Anyway, let's hop into some gameplay examples, and I'll talk a little bit about rotation to end the video. All right, the following is an example where I already have full call points. This is a good rotation when you don't have blades. I go for a Shadow Dance and a Shadow Strike. I use in a full Eviscerate. Then I use Echoing Reprimand, which puts me at 2 points. I'm able to dump a 7-point Secret Technique. I use one more Shadow Strike, and because I don't have blades, I'm able to land on 4 call points. And I got hit by a little CC there, but that's no big deal. And then I get a second Eviscerate, which counts as a 7-pointer. And because of the added pressure from the Disciplined Priest, we're able to kill the Druid in this scenario. Another important thing to note about Flagellation is that even if the buff, so in this case, the buff is on the Priest, but I actually use a Rupture here on the Warlock, and if you watch that back, you'll actually see that I gain stacks when I hit the other target who doesn't have Flagellation. So that's kind of a cool thing you can do to swap around, since you'll be getting that Mastery buff. I get an incredible amount of pressure on the Warlock in this game here. All right, turnip time. The turnip is immune to kidney shot. However, we are going to put a rotation on it. This is what you could do at the very start of an arena game. We're going to basically use Shadow Strike, and then we're going to use Shadow Dance so that we have full call points. And we're going to press kidney shot. If you have time here where you're not going to get stunned by whatever class in the game for some reason doesn't have a stun, you could throw in Flagellation before the kidney shot. However, it's usually not worth the risk. So in this situation, we're just going to do the opener without Flagellation. For the most part, I'm not really bursting with it. However, I'm pressuring people with it with fake goes with just a regular dance. And then the second dance charge, you can use symbols, Kyrian, and that would look something like this. Blades, then we're going to use Shadow Strike, Dance, and that'll give us full points for a kidney shot. Then we're going to use the Kyrian ability and try to hit Secret Tech, Symbols, and Cold Blood on the blue point, but I get a call point proc and screwed up. I use a Shadow Strike there. It fills my call points because of pre-med, and then I use an Eviscerate, and then I use a Shadow Strike, which puts me on 4 points, and I'm able to hit a massive 200k Finality, Eviscerate, and yeah, in general, that's the rotation. It can be pretty quick. The most important thing that will make things easy for you is make sure you are pressing the Kyrian ability after dumping your call points, because by doing this, you are very likely that the Kyrian ability will land you on one of said blue combo points, allowing for that 7-point finisher. And this is especially good if you already have Finality set up, or you're going to be able to hit 2 of those points in a row, so you can get a Finality Eviscerate, a Secret Technique, and another Eviscerate into your rotation. That's going to deal a lot of damage. And anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully this is helpful, and hopefully you have fun playing with this build. This is definitely my favorite build at the moment. I also like the Rotten build quite a bit too, but I like this build because it has more damage, and having damage is definitely fun. Like, comment, subscribe for more, and we'll see you again soon. Peace.